So welcome to the first part out of quite a few, I would guess. I don't know exactly how many. I haven't really planned it out perfectly, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna film several parts. I suppose I could write it in the description for this first part how many you can expect, because right now I don't know. But when you watch this, they will all be ready to be published. So I want to film all these and edit them all, upload them all, so that I can just press publish with a few days in between. So when you see this first part, they're all done. So you can expect, well, like I said, just check the description for the grand total. But you can expect one every few days. So hopefully that's gonna make up the fact that I've been absent for a couple months. I don't know exactly when I'm gonna get these videos up, because right now it's been about 8-9 weeks, I think, since my last upload, which is too long. But it's gonna have to be a bit longer after this, because well, like I said, it's gonna take me a while to film and edit all the parts. So I don't know how long it will have been since my last video by the time you see this. But like I said, there's not gonna be more than a few days, or it depends really, but I'd say a few days in between each video, so you don't have to wait for very long for these next several videos. So I hope that's good news. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to keep them down in length somewhat. I mean, I usually try to talk about everything I have in one long video, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to try to keep them down in length, and I'm going to try to, as best I can, try to sort of group these titles together into smaller piles and make each part a themed part. So this one being new releases and second-hand store pickups. So it's kind of hard to theme every video perfectly. Some of them might be a little bit miscellaneous. You might see miscellaneous in the title for some of the parts. I don't quite know yet, but I'm gonna try to find as many themes as I can. I mean, I'm looking at the piles here, and I've already placed them in terms of genre, sort of. So I think I know what I'm gonna do. But yeah, this first part is gonna be sort of, I guess, miscellaneous, but it's sort of new releases, and then one small pile of new releases, and well, not all of them actually, and most of them, and then one small pile of second-hand store pickups. I've shown a few of them before, but I hadn't seen them then. So, but let's start with a couple that I think I bought these to pre-order them on CD-ON. They have an offer that you can pre-order a couple Blu-rays and you can get some discount. So I think I bought these together. And first one out of the two is Phantom Thread. So I'm always a little bit behind with new films. I don't go to the movie theater that often. Whenever something is released on Netflix, I'll watch it then, or HBO, but that doesn't happen too often. But it's probably gonna start happening a bit more often with Netflix originals, in terms of actually good movies. But beyond that, it's, you know, just waiting for the Blu-ray really. And sometimes it takes me a while to actually get the Blu-ray too, because they're quite expensive when they're first released. But anyway, Phantom Thread, I was able to get this one day one. Paul Thomas Anderson's new film, very good. Not my favorite of his, but definitely a very good film. I did buy the master recently, so I actually moved that over to the TV area. I'm planning on rewatching that soon, now that I've just watched this one. I really did like it. It's a very, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis's final film apparently. I don't know if we can believe him. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe a few years down the line he'll change his mind. He's obviously very good. There are some really interesting scenes here, real subtlety going on here, to the point where I feel like you can watch this a second and a third time and pick up on totally new things and new layers. Because even though in some of the really quiet scenes, when you have basically very little going on, you have so many layers, which is kind of not ironic, but it's interesting that in the most quiet scenes, sometimes you can find the most amount of information. But so that's sort of the deal with this one a little bit. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, the other one, three billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. This one I've been looking forward to for a long time, and as tends to be the case with me anyway, when I've been looking forward to see a film for a long time, and then it comes out and everybody talks about it, I usually see this kind of hype curve in my mind. When it reaches the top, that's when you want to see it. But then everybody starts talking about it, and I just get sick of hearing about it, and so the hype settles for me anyway. And to watch it here, it's kind of anticlimactic. I usually want to watch it like before it goes down. But so that's what happens sometimes. But this one I had been looking forward to for a long time. And it's great. It's by the director who made In Bruges, which is still one of my favorite films all these years later. Seven Psychopaths. This one I think I liked more than Seven Psychopaths, but In Bruges is still my favorite from him. Martin McDonagh, I think his name is. But this one was great, but it is, some of it feels like I've seen it already, like I've seen trailers, I've heard people talking about it. It's just been present in my mind for a while. But I still really liked it. It's still, I enjoyed it a lot. Really great cast too, and so I was glad to finally see that. We got a couple more recent films. One of them I was actually quite disappointed by. I suppose it could be one that grows on me. We'll have to wait and see. But it's Journeyman, Paddy Considine's new film. He directed a movie called Tyrannosaur, which I don't remember everything about, but I saw that when it came out, and I really liked it. And ever since, I've been just kind of waiting to see whatever else Paddy Considine would hopefully direct in the future, and this is his second film. It's about a man he plays. I don't think he was in Tyrannosaur himself. I could be wrong about that, but he's a great actor. But he's in this. He plays the lead. He's a boxer, a sort of I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but he's middle-aged, I guess, Paddy Considine. I'm not sure if his character is supposed to be the same age, but he is an older boxer, and he has this match with a younger boxer. And he, the match goes well, but afterwards, they don't really explain it exactly, but I guess he has suffered brain damage to the point where his ability to speak and reason has been dramatically sort of decreased or whatever, and he is sort of reduced to being, well, he basically behaves like a baby. There's a scene with him and his baby. They're both trying to eat, not being very successful. I feel like they were trying to show how he was reduced to that state. That doesn't sound too absurd, but yeah, so that's what it's about. And then Jodie Whittaker, who I've recently become a fan of, plays his wife, and I feel like she was the star of the movie for a while, because she's the one who needs to act this character who is reacting to, or has to deal with her husband, and with whom she has a newborn baby, has to deal with this happening to him, and she has to take care of him, much like she has to take care of her baby. So it was sort of her movie for a while, but at the end of the movie, Paddy Considine, I feel like it became more his movie towards the end. And there are some really good scenes, but I feel like it left me wanting more. I just don't know. I didn't think it entirely worked. Unfortunately, I mean, I'd be really curious to see what you think about this if you've seen it, because I don't think a lot of people have. Like the IMDb, I think on IMDb there's like less than 1,000 ratings or votes for this. I thought it was okay, I'd been looking forward to it, so I was a bit disappointed, but the last scene I really liked. The other one, the other new release is Black Panther, which, I don't like the word overrated, but I maybe overhyped is a better word, because I'm not entirely on board with all the praise. Yeah, it's an okay movie. It doesn't happen that often, but I had to pause this, watch something else, or do something else, and then come back to it, because I honestly wasn't really enjoying it that much. It's a perfectly fine Marvel film. I mean, there are very enjoyable scenes, but the story, the acting, it just really fell flat for me. It's okay, but I think because people have been praising this, I mean, there's a reason obviously, but as a film, I just don't think it's that great. It's a good film, but it's not one of my favorite Marvel films. And I think I also maybe part of the problem too is that I'm becoming a little bit feeling this Marvel fatigue a little bit that people have been talking about. Okay, then we have a couple of new-ish releases, not new films, but new Blu-rays of older films. So this one is from Indicator. It's Modern Romance by Albert Brooks. The first one of his films that I've seen. I've seen him in films before, but I've never seen one that he directed. This one is a really good sort of satire. It's a slow-paced kind of... well, it's a vehicle for him just to... It's almost like a one-man show a lot of the time. But I really I liked it a lot. I got into the groove of the film pretty quickly, and I kind of understood what they were trying to do. I could see if some people would find it boring, but I enjoyed this a lot actually. Then we have a Coen Brothers film. This is a fairly new Blu-ray from Studio Canal. Blood Simple. I've had this on DVD before, but I was really glad to upgrade. This is a phenomenal film. It's just such a solid movie, and for a first-time film by the Coen Brothers, like it's just incredible what they've managed to do. Yeah, I hadn't seen this in a while. I remember it being very good, but it just rose to almost to the top of my favorite Coen Brothers films. I think it actually is one of my favorites of theirs. I don't know. I mean, obviously Fargo, No Country for Old Men, and Big Lebowski I would put above, but this might be number 4. I think it might be. Well, I have to rewatch a couple of them, like Barton Fink I haven't seen in a long time, and Racing Arizona. But anyway, this is just great. There's such confusion involved, and how they deal with that, how they have the characters not really know what's going on. They hide information from the characters, and that creates situations where as a viewer you could be confused yourself, but I feel like they add all the little details really well to make the viewer remember them, and so it's just very well done. Yeah, it's sort of an unusual film in that sense, that nobody really knows what's going on. Yeah, great cast too. Frances McDormand, Dan Hedaya. I feel like he's an underrated actor. I really love him in everything I've seen him in. Emmett Walsh is great. Who else is in this? Well, really great film. I'd like to get the Criterion. I think there might be some different extras on that. But this one, Scarecrow, it's not a new release, but like I said, there's some miscellaneous stuff as well. Gene Hackman, Al Pacino from the Archive collection. Now I bought this along with something else, and talked about them recently, and I said that because my Region 3 player broke after I bought this, I couldn't watch them because this is a Region 1 release. But somebody very kindly alerted me to the fact that the Archive collection Blu-rays are Region 3, which I just assumed they weren't, because US releases just normally aren't. But this one is, they're apparently Region 3. So thank you for that. I wouldn't have known otherwise. So I was able to watch it on my Region 2, well, on my PlayStation 4. It's, yeah, Scarecrow. I don't know if I said the title, but you can obviously see which one it is. It's a 1970s film, very early Al Pacino film. I think he had done, like, it might have been, yeah, it was the same year that he did The Godfather. And he had done Panic, what was he called? Panic in Needle Park. But I don't think he was a star yet. but he's already so good, and Gene Hackman is great. There are some really great scenes just with them talking. Like there's a scene that they play homeless people, and they meet up in the beginning in a really good scene. Then after that, there's a scene in a coffee shop, or in maybe not a coffee shop, a restaurant or a diner, and they're just eating. There's a really long take of them ordering food. Gene Hackman orders oatmeal with milk, and nothing happens, but it's in the details of that. I just love watching scenes like that where nothing seemingly happens. It's just a camera that observes them ordering food and talking, but it's one take. There's a lot of things that need to be done right, even though not seemingly much happens, and I just love watching that kind of stuff. Anyway, and then it's definitely a movie that is divided up into different segments. Maybe I shouldn't say this. There's one. I shouldn't say it. I don't think it's a huge deal, a huge spoiler, but something happens to them after a while. And there's a scene, a few other scenes that I really like. Overall, really good film. Part of the new Hollywood, fairly early on in that movement, whatever. Well, sort of. Well, I guess it had been a few years, but it is definitely one of those really good new Hollywood films. But it's not one that is talked about as much as a lot of the other ones from around that time. But it is a really good film, so I was glad to be able to see that. And then this is just a very random addition here. I don't know where else to really include it, but it's Misc. There were a few different reasons why I bought this. It's a film by Peter Bogdanovich. I really love his film Last Picture Show. Still the only one that I've seen, apart from the newer one with Jennifer Aniston. But it also stars Cher. I'm actually a fan of hers. And Sam Elliott is in this. I really enjoyed Sam Elliott in everything I've seen. Eric Stoltz is in this too, and it's sort of about him. He sort of plays a boy who has, a very substantial deformity, a very large, obvious deformity, facial deformity. You can see him, and it's about him trying to just live a normal life the best he can, and Cher is his mother. Sam Elliott plays some biker guy that I don't really remember. I guess they sort of had a thing going. It's a bit long, so I just bought this because there were people involved that I like, but it's a bit long, 2 hours long. It's sort of cheesy in the right way to some extent, but it's a bit long. I feel like it could have been about 20 minutes shorter. There's a really good scene when he goes off to some camp, and there's a blind girl played by Laura Dern, a really early role by her, and she plays a blind girl. She really does that well. She had apparently worked on that for a long time, and she pulled it off really well. And they meet, and because she's blind, she can't see what he looks like. So I guess that's a thing. But that was a really sweet scene when they met, and I really liked the scenes with them. So when that started happening, I was more into the movie. But overall, it was a bit slow for me. So those are all the new releases and the Blu-rays that I bought from Amazon and CD-ON, and now we'll get to the second-hand stuff. A little pile here of a couple Blu-rays and a couple DVDs. Eyes Wide Shut, I found this a few days ago. I've never seen this. There are a few Kubrick films that I haven't seen, or this one and Barry Lyndon at least. I think that's it. No, I haven't seen Lolita. And I'm not sure if I've seen Spartacus in its entirety. Anyway, I'll find... have to find the right time to see this. It's not one that I want to jump right into, but it's a Kubrick film that I haven't seen. Obviously, I want to see it at some point. And a little while ago, I actually showed these off, but I hadn't seen them yet. I found them at a sale, very briefly. The Golden Compass. I checked this out. I actually kind of enjoyed it, but I didn't know. I've actually. Well, I thought that it was. I thought that the film's reputation was a bit better than it actually turned out to be. Because when I went online after, I realized that the ratings are quite low. The reviews are quite bad for the most part, and I can see why. But I actually kind of enjoyed it. Something else I had not known before is that it ends on a very abrupt note. Apparently they had planned on making a sequel, which just never happened. They're based on a few books. It's a kind of Harry Potter, Narnia type story, and Sam Elliott is in this too, so that's another reason for me to see this, I guess. But there's a lot of great actors in this. I will have to say though that the bonus features, the very in-depth making of series of featurettes was better than the film. I enjoyed that more than the film, but I still had a pretty good time with the movie. And Black Swan, I had seen this before, Darren Aronofsky. I saw this in the movie theater, but I haven't seen it since. But it's definitely not one that I had forgotten about. But I did enjoy this more the second time, I would say. Still, The Wrestler is my favorite Aronofsky film, but this might be a second close. Maybe Requiem for a Dream would be the second one. But this is really great too. There was definitely things that I picked up on that I don't think I picked up on before. So I ended up actually really loving that film now that I saw it again. I mean, I liked it the first time, but anyway. And this one I also found, which I hadn't never heard of before, but coming home I watched it a few weeks ago, and yeah, Jane Fonda, Jon Voight, Bruce Dern, really good cast. It's about well, it's a Vietnam film, or it's about the PTSD, I guess, and the physical injuries that people suffer, and then they're being sent home, and they're all in this sort of hospital or rehab place together, and Jon Voight is there, and Jane Fonda goes to I'm not sure if did she work there, or did she volunteer perhaps, but she meets him there. Bruce Dern is over in Vietnam, I think. I think they're married. But she starts up this thing with Jon Voight when Bruce Dern is gone, basically. And just a really great film from '78. So yeah, it sort of has that new Hollywood feel to it. I guess it was towards the end of that movement, but yeah, just overall a really good one that I sort of went in blind with, but yeah, it was great. Another one that I have seen, but not since I bought it, Fishtank. I was happy to find this. Yeah, I remember a few. I haven't forgotten about the film at all, but I don't remember the main story. I mean, I remember a few scenes from this for sure. It is a really good film. I'll check this out again eventually. I don't feel like I need to do so quite yet, but eventually I'm sure I'll enjoy this again. It is a very good film. I remember liking it when I saw it. And this one I've had for I don't know how long. I have all these piles right next to me here with unwatched stuff, and I've tried as much as I can to pick stuff from those piles and get some of the stuff watched. Because I'd like to, at some point, one day, I'd like to have seen all the movies in my collection. Right now I probably have at least a couple hundred movies that I still want to see. And with all the stuff that you're always buying as a collector, and with Netflix that keeps getting in the way, it's hard to justify like going back to stuff you've had for a few years and watch that. But I've tried to do that. And this one, I don't think I've had this for years, but I've had it for a while. And my mom actually said this recently that she liked it, and so I think that was a reason why I wanted to finally see it. Yeah, Baghdad Cafe. I saw this yesterday. I really did like it. It takes place in a setting that I just love. It's in the American desert, where CCH Pounder, who's really cool in this movie. I don't think I've seen her in much. I mean, I've seen her in The Shield, but that's the only thing that I know her from. But this is a much older film. This is from '87, so I'd never seen her in anything that early before. But yeah, she's great. She runs this sort of cafe slash motel or restaurant anyway, in the Mojave Desert, I think it says here. Yeah, at the end of the Mojave Desert. And that's sort of the only thing that exists for miles, I guess. There's this small, very dirty, run-down place where she has her family or her 2 kids. Yeah, this German lady comes visiting one day, and she lives there for a while, and it's sort of about that chemistry, but also about just the setting. It's not really a film with a plot. It's more just a film about a really great setting and how it captures this place and these people who live here. It's just a really good film. I really did like it a lot. Yeah, I love that. I love that setting, the American desert. For some reason, that's always been something that I romanticize. But yeah, Jack Palance is in this too. He's really great. So that's the last one for this first part. So I hope you enjoyed it. It still ended up being half an hour long. So I guess I didn't feel a need to hurry, but in doing so, I talked for maybe a little bit too long about some of them. But thank you for watching the first part. Next one, like I said, is going to be uploaded in a few days, so see you then.